Hello everyone, welcome back to my studio. Neither of us have been in here very much lately, but I'm back. Back from a hiatus of dealing with, well, it's a whole story. Anyways, I've made a bunch of papers. These are designs that I created decades ago, some of them more recently, and I have decided to test the viability of this particular package of papers together by making a collage. And here is said collage. And I don't know how much you can see, so I'm going to do this kind of thing like that. And that's what we're going to do in this video. I'm going to show you the collage that I made. I talked my head off during the whole entire thing, and my microphone stopped working, so there's not a lot of talking, a little bit of low music. Join me if you feel like it. Thanks. Everyone. First, I'm going to tell you what the plan is, and then I want to tell you some backstory. In today's video, I am going to use one of these packs of paper, one of this or this, to make a collage on this 16 by 20 canvas. This is ambitious for me because I've been away for a while, but there's no better way than just to jump in. So that's what the video is for. Now, if you'd like to hang out and find out where I've been for almost 2 months, that's the next part of the story. So the first part of the story is, here, while I'm telling you that, why don't you just look at some pictures while I'm telling you about that. These are papers that I've been designing for decades. So the winter time was really particularly, oh, I love that, brutal in New Hampshire. And I live in a mobile home park, and many people's pipes froze, which caused us to go leaks, which caused our pumps to shut down, which caused us to have to turn the water off every single night for a month, to about half of the co-op. It was brutal. Aren't these beautiful? So it's over. I don't want to talk about it anymore right now, but when I came back after being shell-shocked of being on call 24 hours a day and literally having people call me at 5:30 in the morning and 10:30 at night, I got the idea that if I spent the rest of my life on scrolling on my telephone, here's a second package, that it would not be a very rich life. So I decided to come in here and start designing. Okay, so I've got access to a big library of public consumption vintage images. So the story behind these is I've taken vintage images and overlaid them on some of my other designs to give them some interesting background. So the idea, at the request of enough people to get my attention, is to offer you guys my papers. These are my designs that I've been working on. Honest to God, some of these designs guys have been, that's very giant, have been in folders on my computer since 2010. Nobody's seen them. So the idea is that I'm going to collect them into a group, and right now I don't know how many papers that is in a group, for a certain price. And I'm going to offer them to you guys so that you can use my art and some of my vintage art to make your own art. And what I know is that one pack of papers right now, this is around, I think this might be 12 sheets. It's a lot of paper, and when I was looking at it last night trying to figure out how I was going to get back into art, because when I'm gone for a while, I have to get a running start to get back in here. It takes me some, and then I'm really enjoying myself, and I'm wondering what the hell, why not? Anyway, so the beginning of this video is going to be me talking because I feel like it. And you can hang out while I do it. So I got the idea to do this. These papers are the fruits of 3 weeks of almost continuous. I'm a little OCD, okay? Usually around 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning until around 6 o'clock at night. These are pictures of what I just showed you so that you can see the group of them while I feel like talking. So the idea was to gather them into groups that would be fun to design with, which is not as easy as it sounds. Thus, my idea that I would try using one of these packages and see if I can pull together something I'm proud of without missing things. There's just some other stuff I've been, this is, it's a little bit of a project. I had to learn software to do this, to gather these into groups like this. And I ran some of it by chat, and I did not always have chat's support. So there are times when I just ignored a computer that's never designed anything in its life. It did not want me to do this. I am 100% sure this belongs in collage paper. So anyways, he didn't want me to do that, and he also didn't want me to do that big giant orange one. I don't know where that is now. Anyways, I've talked enough. I'm going to go to work. I have to tell you, I'm a little bit nervous because I've been away for a while. I'm rusty. And there's a lot of paper here. I don't even know where to begin. But I'll be back. Okay, now what I feel like doing, after composing myself, because I got a little flustered, I want to decide which of these packages of paper I'm going to do. I'm going to start with this one. And I'm going to, hold on a second, I'm going to change the angle of my camera so that you can see more desktop. Watch this. My arms are going to go from normal to pool noodle. I'll be right back. See that? Giants. But you can see more desktop, so you can see these things laid out. Because I need to see them laid out. So what I'm actually trying to do is here. I'm recording this just in case it doesn't turn out to be terrible. But you guys are literally hanging out with me as I come back from a very long hiatus. So, all right, so just papers. I want, they also recommended I get rid of that because they didn't like that with this. This guy's never made a collage. I want to just stand on a chair so I can see. Okay, I can fit. No, not really. Trying to get a bunch of stuff on here. Okay. So while I'm doing this, also recommended that I don't do that. I think they're probably right. Okay. So that's 4/8. Wish I had a little bit more room. Actually, hold on a second, guys. Watch this. Watch this, guys. Stay right there. I'm not turning off the camera. You guys are going with me. You can't see this because it's off camera, and I can't move my camera because it takes forever to get it set up. However, the big top drawer of this desk table opens up, and this is where my friend Cindy, I actually have two friends named Cindy who make art with me. I'm very blessed. And, okay. Now, well, there's a problem. Now I can't. All right, let me just do this while I'm here. I'm pretty far away from the camera. But I want to do this. Oh, I have more than 12 papers here. I have 15 papers. All right. I have a dictionary page. This one's beautiful. It's a piece of cathedral. And this one seems almost too white, so I got to do something about that. All right. You guys can see this. This is a group of papers that it was forever. It took forever for me to figure out, oh my God, I have thousands of files that go back to 2010, layers and layers and a million duplicates. And Eagle taught me about, no, Chat taught me about a program called Eagle. All right, I'm gonna get rid of this drawer because it's too far away and my arms aren't that long, even when they're pool noodles. So anyways, Chat said, no, I don't even know what I was going to say. So sad. I'm going to have to cut that out. I have to cut that right out of this video so you guys don't think I'm getting senile. Chat recommended I look into a program called Eagle, which is, these are gorgeous. These are freaking gorgeous, huh? Would you guys make art? Of course you'd make art out of these, because if I could buy these, I'd make art out of them too. All right, so I'll tell you something. This is not very big. 16 by 20. That's that's not a very big canvas, but you know what? One of the things I came to realize is, hold on a second, I have to show you this. Sorry if I'm unprofessional and disorganized, but you guys are really just hanging out with me. It's the only way you're going to get me. This is in 11 by 14. This is the size I produced most of my art on when I was starting out. And it's roughly twice as large. I don't think you could well use these. Where are my papers? I don't think you could, maybe you could. Should I challenge myself to make something small? Yeah, you know what? I would have 500. I think this is already going to be a challenge. Yeah, remove the barriers for entry. Okay, I am, I'm having performance anxiety. I'm a little bit shy right now. That my brother just told me he sold my motorcycle. So, motorcycle that's too big for me that I keep falling off of. Okay, I'll tell you what I know. I know I want to work with these two colors. I'm not 100% sure about this yet. That. I hope you can see this. Let me stand. Sorry, let me stand on my chair. Oh, you can see it all. I know I'll crop a lot of it out. I just want you to be able to watch me work because okay, I'll tell you what I'm thinking while I'm doing this. I am looking for color and texture. One of the things I like about designing with my own work, let's go back to some history. These were all made on a site that's called Polyvore that's out of business now. They're using found images. And I like them because they're fun to cut up. You know, you've already got some shapes here that are fun to cut out. That needs some work. This is got to be covered up. That's probably okay. Yeah, that's too much of somebody else's work. Okay, so I know I want to work with these colors. Okay, I know I want really strong contrast that doesn't look like the rest of it. So that's what chat doesn't understand. It's thinking that this needs to be a package that is everything is themed, and it sort of is. We've got a botanical theme here. Everything was themed. I'm so glad I get to talk about this because my head has been exploding with information. All right. So it's got themes, but I also have thrown some things in it because as a collage artist, I can see I want that little piece right there, you know, and maybe, I don't know, maybe some of this. I can see it already, so that's going to stay. I believe I want to work with, you know what, every one of these frickin' papers are so pretty. This is actually, look how pretty. Maybe I need to make that small. All right. I keep saying, oh, I'm only going to use this, only use that. I'm going to use all of these. All right, for now, I think what I'll do is start with color. Okay. All right, I'm not going to talk. I'm going to go quiet. But before I go quiet, I'm going to tell you. Hold on, let me get my head in here. I'm going to tell you. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to tell you. I'm just going to cut these. This is a pain in the neck. If you end up buying a package of papers, my head, all right. If you end up buying papers from me, God, I can't wait to see what people make with this stuff. People are so resourceful. So you have to do this. You'll need a paper cutter. You can do it with scissors. You can, but it will become long. All right, I'm going to turn the camera off while I do this. Okay, that other cutter is fired. It requires much younger eyes than mine. So this one's clunky, but it's not a lot of work. Okay, I'm going to go quiet. I'll be back. Makes a huge difference when the white edges come off. Huge difference. I don't even know where to begin. I may have to just sit here and contemplate. Okay, this is what I've decided I'm going to do because there's a lot of paper here. I'm going to keep my camera running, but there's going to be periods of time where I'm just standing here looking at these papers and trying to figure out where to begin, because I don't even know. I had the idea that I might cover up the background with it, but I don't know that that's how I want to use these papers. So I'm going to, you guys can watch me think, and I'll speed it up. And maybe I'll play music, but maybe I'll be quiet. I'm going to speak. I'm going to tell you the thoughts that are going through my head. I'm going to do what's easy for me, which doesn't necessarily help you develop as an artist, but I need to get started again. I'm going to work on a grid because it's my favorite way to design, and I can relate to it, and a lot of these papers lend themselves to it. It's actually a very easy way to, easier, there's no such thing as easy, to find your way into collage when you are inexperienced. And I've been making collage for quite a while, but I still feel pretty inexperienced. So I'm going to be, that's not big enough. I have to go back to that fussy one. It would help if I would change the blade, but that would require me to do something. This piece will be different if you see it in the pack. That's too recognizable. I don't actually have a plan right now, so The whole time chat was telling me not to use this, I was picturing chopping that off, so that's the first thing that's going to happen. So while I'm doing this, I'll talk when I when I feel like it. Okay. So a little history on these papers for those of you that are new here. I know a fair amount of you come back, but these papers, I learned to design abstract collage using a website called Polyvore. It was a fashion site. Catalyst wedge. Magical tool. So the website Polyvore was a place where it was really, it looked like a fashion site. If you went to it, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to think. If I think, this will never get done, and I'll end up getting anxious. I'm just going to put these down quickly without thinking, because actually I get better results when I do that. So Polyvore, and I'm going to forget what I talk about. If any of you guys know me, you'll know that I go off on tangents and then I forget what I was talking about, and sometimes I have to turn off the camera and go back and listen to myself talk. So sad. Anyways, Polyvore was a fashion site where mostly young users would make what we call sets, which were just designs. You'd find images online of clothing, and they had this little program set up where you could, when you dragged an image into the little platform, the background would disappear. So you could make little shirts and outfits and stuff like that. That's where I learned to design. I already need something right there that's fairly focal point. So underneath all of these little girls making fashion sets were a bunch of women, men, mostly women, but making artistic sets, designing and finding pictures of rugs and all kinds of stuff that people would save on the platform. And watch my head, got to be able to see these seams. I love designing like this. I used to be a quilter. This is quilting with paper. So I don't know how I found it, but I stumbled upon it, and it was kind of a miracle. And I started learning how to design. And when I first started doing it, I was using it to advertise my website, the product that I make. And I'm going to do this. This is what happens when I design in a rectangle. I get pretty persnickety about wouldn't it just be easier just to cut a strip, Cherie? BRB. And this is where I start getting, I like my lines. And I did not cut this big enough to do the job. Okay, this is useful. I just did this. I like this with it. I think the colors are all obviously beautiful together and everything, but they're wimpy. These are not. These are not wimpy. So I just did some Photoshop editing, and I've got some strong butterflies. I'll tell you what I'm going to remember is that when I design like this in grids, they're all the same size. Otherwise, I end up with math problems like I have right now, which is not awesome. So I'm going to have to change things if I'm not going to end up doing all this fussy cutting. Okay, I'm going quiet, guys. I'll speed through whatever needs to be sped through. Working with these papers gives me the opportunity to see, this is a big canvas. Maybe I should have gone small, but you know what? There's a lot of paper here. Maybe I'll do this, I'll work out the details of this pack of papers. Yeah, I'll work it out on camera because this is useful for me, and maybe it is for you as well, but it gives me stuff to share with you, and I stay moving forward. Be interesting to see what papers I don't use. Where'd I go? This is the thing that chat said I need. It said it was, I can't remember the words. He was not a supporter of, it was loud. Loud, relatively loud. Whatever, it's a piece of paper, Cherie. You can print it again. That's the cool thing about some of this paper stuff I'm doing, is that if you use it all up, you frickin' print it again. Let's start out. that little bit of blue. That's going to keep it from being so boring. Okay. So this is a very useful little design in here. Look what it brought to the table. And look at all this other warm stuff that I can move in to balance that out. I could put a piece of it up in the corner. Okay. Well, that's kind of fun. What have I not used? Let me just take an inventory. I have used, I think I've used all my papers except 2. I didn't use this because I've already got that, but I use its friend. I didn't use this botanical. I don't know if I'm going to, but I use it in another thing. I didn't use this. That looks like it's gonna have a home. And this is just 2 for these papers. This is a very interesting exercise for me. That's too light. If you wanted to glue it down and glue on top of it, that might be useful. Maybe that stays. But this, well, you don't have this in there yet. You are so sure. You are so sure. I still think it's going to be a little piece somewhere. Okay. I'm going to go off camera and contemplate for a while. These lines that are built into some of these designs, they give me guidance. Okay, what I don't realize while I'm going through all of these papers right now is that I'm going through the next pack of papers wishing for more black and white because I have become insecure about the black and white hand-sketched fan design that I'm using right now. And I absolutely insist that it's going to make it into this collage, and it does, but it doesn't last. So I don't want to talk for the next 15 minutes about what you guys can see that I'm doing. So I'm going to talk until the end of this frame, mostly just to fill some time and drink my coffee. I don't mind that, actually. Now, if I had kept it simple, see these simple shapes? I go crazy in this right-hand corner. You'll see. Anyways, I'm not going to talk the whole entire time because I don't have that much to say. I do want to jump in and say one thing. See that space that I'm getting ready to fill right now? I wish I had thought to use the cathedral drawing there, because if you look at the botanical leafy thing with the beige next to it, it would have been nice to carry that line down and have it read like a solid thing. Now I've created another place for your eye to stop instead of traveling, which I'm really just starting to get comfortable with the idea of. But in hindsight, I think I could have simplified this by carrying that beige down. I put it there, but just a tiny little nod to it. So that's it. I do want to say that I'm happy with what I'm doing here in the corner, although I wish I put that newsprint facing up and down. Look at how quiet that corner is. It's beautiful to look at, but it's restful. I got a lot to learn about collage. Yeah. I see this. I also see myself starting to cover up things in an order to simplify it. I wish I had done more of that at the beginning. It's interesting to look at my work from a distance like this. So there I go. Can't see it because my head's in the way. Yeah. Gotta get close enough for the old eyes to be able to see the seams. Okay, that's a little easier. I like that lower right corner. Now I've got the idea that a fussy cut this little cathedral thing to do what with it? It's not going to last. Speaking of covering things up, look what's going. It was very difficult for me to make ChatGPT right, but it's going away. I need to quiet this thing down. Okay guys, I'm back from having another cup of coffee and I made some changes, but I need to tell you before I go is that I didn't record any sound for the whole entire thing. So I'm aware of that now. You'll find out about it at the beginning, so I'm going to end up talking over it. But I ended up changing up a couple of papers that I think fill in the blanks better with this that I made the collage out of, which I don't want to mess with the camera, so you'll have to see it sort of diagonally. Here's the top of it. Here's the bottom. There's, you know, I am questioning that. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Before I put anything, before I tell anybody that I've listed these things, I'll let you know. How you got with be so excited to see what you guys would come up with my art. I can't even tell you how excited that gets me. Anyway, so I did not record sound, so I'm saying goodbye, and thank you for watching. And I have no idea what I'm going to talk about over this. You'll find out before I will. Bye.